Welcome back to Pole Barn Garage, where today we are back on the 1960 Ford Country Sedan station wagon with the big old 460 in it we put in last video. Check that out if you haven't seen it. Right now, we're jumping right in on the interior, actually. That's Jess's pet project. She's in here. You can barely see her through this windshield. I have a glass guy coming tomorrow to swap the windshield from the parts car we picked up last episode into this one. And with that being the case, what better time to go ahead and paint the dash. Now the parts car has an aqua interior, so we're going to paint the dash aqua. That way we don't get overspray all over our new glass. We also have carpet, headliner material, door panels, and all kinds of good stuff for it. I just kind of forgot that he's coming tomorrow actually, and we should probably paint that before he shows up. So
yeah, it's not quite midnight yet.
No, let's knock that out. I'm just going to give it a quick scratch with a red Scotch-Brite, mask everything off, squirt it with some spray paint. There she goes. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Ew.
The bug.
Ah, yeah. No need to worry about overspray. Goes right in the lungs. This thing's gonna be so bright in here. That is the start of a very long process. We're going to paint the tops of the doors, paint all the trim in the back, recover the headliner, do it all on a very tight budget. Look at that window. It's so clean that it's almost not even there. Also, it's not even there. We weren't able to save the seal for this, so I had to buy a new seal. We have the window right down there, but it's going to have to wait until I get the new rubber for it. Then we can install. What do we do in the meantime? Well, let's work on getting this thing running. Let's start with a fuel system. So we've got a fuel cell we need to put in the back. Let's get started on that. I don't want to see it, so we have to be a little creative. What I want to do is put the fuel cell in the spare tire compartment underneath the floor, under this door here. Is that doable? I'm not really sure, but let's play with it and find out. This will just about fit down in there. It's very, very close. I think even, you know, if we just cut the bottom of that spare tire hole out, it might fit. It would just be cool if we could set this down, you know, and it still looks factory. Fixing the original gas tank, that's going to cost a lot of money, and I don't even know if it could be done, frankly. It did have it in the car, but it's pretty bad. I think I'll cut the back out first, pretty much in line with that pre-existing rust hole here. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah. Well, that gets that out of our way. There's no body brace under here or anything, so no harm, no foul. Anything we do is just going to make it stronger. Got kind of a square peg and a round hole situation here. Maybe we put it in from the bottom, actually. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. So I got my strap kit here, and you know, we're going to use it completely incorrectly. I was hoping I'd be able to use it and actually bolt this down. I was wrong, and that's okay. What we will do is use a bit of their metal here, and we'll bolt here to here and get that strap in. And then we're going to have to make a little bracket up here where we can bolt from here over to there. It'd be really cool if that was long enough to just be one whole piece. Then it would work real good. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. Got this here. Let's put a little spacer in between it and here, but we drill a hole in the car, suspend it here, and then this holds in the back part. Then we just do the same thing on the front here and reach it out to the car there, and then it's bolted in and suspended, which I would assume is stronger. I don't know, I ain't no engineer, but I think it'll work. And I'm of course using the tried and true method of using lug nuts to space this down. So a couple lug nuts in between there gets it just about right. I've got my very questionable Harbor Freight level in here, trying to make sure it's at least half-ass level. Car's in the air, so it's gonna change, but we can at least make sure it's sort of square. It doesn't need to be perfect. Huge storms moving in, by the way. So maybe this all just blows away and we end up in Oz. I don't know. Pretty sturdy. The whole floor moves, but the fuel cell doesn't, so must be good, right? I was thinking of welding these together. I got a couple pieces of scrap here, one bolt and one old bracket or something. So at least we just weld these together. At least if that side fails or this side fails, something will still hold it in the car. Hey, this is flammable.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
I just saw.
I was just trying to teach you a lesson there, JD. About safety. You know what I mean? Yes. All about the safety and the intelligence. Let me not learn from my mistake and just do it again.
Ah, yes.
Hmm?
Yes. Oh, there was a fire.
Just a small one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Pokey? Yes. Functional? Very. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm moving the whole car. Now,
That's not gonna fall out.
should we do maybe we do something about that?
About what? The floor's not going anywhere. I don't think it is.
I hope you're right. I feel like that's not very good. I feel like with weight on that could end up cracking the floor, and I don't know, it is the gas tank. Maybe we make sure it's in here pretty well. I'm just gonna run a brace 38 inches long, weld to here, weld to here, weld to the sides. Then it's definitely not going anywhere. Aha!
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just tack it down to here, tack it here, and then tack it on the sides. That's going to stabilize that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. There's fire there.
No, it's fine. You'll note how I didn't cut an angle on that, so I can't weld to the top. So what we do is just use this washer that was sitting next to it. Tack him in place, and then we tack it to the car, and boom, strength. Look at this.
Much better now, yeah.
They don't move a bit. We got to figure out a vent system, and I need to get a couple AN barb fittings to just hook a regular hose to it. And I was hoping one of these swivels would fit with the way we mounted it. I guess I should have paid closer attention. It's not gonna work. Too tall, I think. But then again, that's not ideal considering this is inside the car and it'd be stinky. What I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna cap both vents on this, like this, and then we're gonna run a return line up to the fuel pump, since our fuel pump has that provision anyway. I am missing the barb fittings, but I have some adapters to take them to a barbed fitting, so I think tomorrow those will show up. We can go ahead and run everything in the meantime. And by everything, I mean I've got a roll of 3/8 line here for our supply and a roll of 1/4 inch here for a return. And we'll just come out of that return there, and that'll be better anyway. Running a return is probably worth a mile per gallon, and also it helps with heat soak and vapor locking, stuff like that. There's a reason they do it. And put a little bit of a flare on this return line here, get it to seal, hopefully. And we're just gonna run it down the frame all the way back. I'm gonna run the supply line right along with it. Still storming like crazy out there. I got our feed line with a filter up here. I run all the way back. And then up under here, I've got everything just laying out, waiting for our fittings. So I guess in the meantime, while I wait for parts, we should figure out what we're gonna do for a cooling system. I got a radiator. I bought the cheapest radiator you can get on Amazon. 120 bucks for an aluminum. This fan is so freaking close. I don't know about it. So I'm gonna take that off. We're gonna run with an electric fan, which I kind of have an interesting idea for that. You'll like that. Try to get this fan off of here. Probably hasn't been off in a minute. Got it. That's worth like 10 horsepower. Let's go ahead and put the bolts back in. And I think they're short enough, they shouldn't have any issues with interference. Allegedly, this fits. Water necks are on the right side at least, so we can make it fit. If we have to. Not bad. I mean, it's close to the holes. I don't know what bolts the top of it in. But I can get the bottom bolted in. That's something. Oh, I don't know if our electric fan's gonna work. There is so little room. Maybe that does slip underneath there? I don't really know. Yeah, it's weird. It's like this motor's absolutely not supposed to be in this vehicle. Strange. This is my go-to electric fan. This fan is for a 90s Cougar or Thunderbird, and these flow a stupid amount of air and will keep anything cool. Back to the drawing board there. I think we're gonna have to go with one of those cheapy 16-inch universal fans. That's not gonna fit no matter what we do. I kind of hate this, but I don't see any other option. This is a Flexolite fan. I actually just robbed that off the Holy Goat to see if it would fit. I can put it over here, off-center it to the right, and it'll just barely clear the pulleys. I mean, maybe an inch. I kind of have to lean the radiator in here. It will bolt in place like that. I don't think there's any other option. You really don't want to use a pusher fan as your only fan because it blocks airflow. You want airflow to get through the core and then into a fan, not pushed through, because you're blocking surface area. Best but bad situation, I hope we don't get caught in traffic around Dallas. I don't mind keeping one of these babies on hand. That is no loss to me. I'm gonna put that on the Holy Goat. Those fans kick ass. They're like 5,000 CFM. This little guy here is 2,500. It's like bare minimum for a V8, much less a 460. Well, I got the bottom part of the radiator bolted in, and I think this is going to give us enough room. I did go ahead and order a 3,000 CFM Flexolite fan. It puts out a little more juice than that one. I'm not going to commit to this yet, but that's where it's going to go. It's just going to have to overlap the tank just a bit, and that gives us plenty of room. Put a couple of zip ties in it just to hold it in place. But I'd like to get the bigger, beefier fan. I don't know if I mentioned it. We're driving this wagon to Galveston, Texas in about 3 weeks-ish. We're gonna need all the cooling we can get. 460s aren't exactly known for running ice cold anyway. I'll go ahead and finish off the installation by shooting a self-tapper into this bracket on the top of the radiator. That is rock freaking solid, at least. Fan ought to be here on Saturday. Today's Thursday. So let's go ahead and get some hoses on it and maybe try to rig up a transmission cooler. We're going to run an external cooler for that. Well, I've got a flex hose that pretty much takes care of the upper hose. Lower hose is going to be a different story. I don't know what the hell this is for, but kind of looks like if I cut this right about at that bend there, it'll make it there. So, I don't know. 2584. And when you're doing real hot rodding like this, there's no how-to manual on how to do it, right? But maybe you can use this as one if you ever wanted to try this. I don't know. Actually, don't do anything I do. I don't have a hose clamp big enough for this hose, so I'm going to make one out of 2 hose clamps. I don't know if it'll work or not, but we'll find out. 2 clamp method wins. A little bit hokey, but I think that'll work. I'm reasonably happy with it. It's on there. Just don't ever go bad, and we'll get along just fine. What we got for our trans cooler is just one of these universal jobs here. And we just zip tie them straight to the front of the radiator with the kit they've got for it. Oh, mighty double clamp method. Don't fail me now. Transmission cooler up here somewhere, I guess, where I think it'll be out of the way of that fan. Right there. I use the special zip ties to hold it through the radiator. Out the other side, and you won't see the hoses. It's, you know, I don't know. I'm not very picky about things usually, but that's one of them. If I had never seen the sunshine, I suppose I wouldn't cuss the rain, but here we are. I'm cussing it. Miserable, miserable. We're gonna run off out of the back of the building, and the roof's leaking again. Great. I'm trying to replace the ignition switch here, and I don't know how it comes out. I drilled out the tumbler. It came out clean. But I don't know how to put the new one in, or, well, maybe it's the wrong one. I don't know. Oh, it is the wrong one. Well, yeah, that explains everything. I guess I got to change the whole thing. Well, I ripped my thumbnail off in the process, but I guess you just push on the switch, and then this bezel unscrews. Yeah, I got it. Little guy here, just kind of like push and twist. That's all it is. All right, let me slam the new one in. This is a necessary part of Make Car Run. I'm sure this will be easy, especially with a ripped off thumbnail. Does anything hurt quite as bad as that? It's just like a minor inconvenience, but it hurts like a mother. Did I do the thing? Didn't really feel like I did the thing. Oh, yeah, I did. I did it! I'm a mechanic! Well, I got it installed, and it seems to work, but it doesn't return off the start. I don't know why. It'll work fine. Just have to remember to let off. Next stop here is going to be wiring. This is cabin power, I think. So that hooks to the solenoid, runs over here, and it would have landed on the regulator, which we're not using right now because we have this regulator. So I think this will work standalone, no problem. We'll just take this off and hook it to whichever one of these is cabin power. I think it's this big yellow one here. I might have to break out a schematic, but we'll see what I can burn down first. I've got the battery hooked up. I've got all the mystery wiring laid in here. Now I'm going to touch this big yellow wire to this other big yellow wire. I have the headlight switch pulled, and I have the blower motor on, which I doubt works. I'm going to touch them together. This will tell me if it's cabin power. Blower motor works. Okay, so the big yellow one is probably cabin power. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure it out old school. And by old school, I mean we're going to guess a lot. Trying to figure out what our crank wires are. For some reason, those wires seem to be powered all the time. I don't know why. Maybe something's wrong with the switch. I don't know what that's about. I guess I need to run these back. I did verify on the parts card that these are the crank and bypass wires. The headlight switch was unplugged, and those actually work. So that's pretty cool. But that doesn't help me with what I'm trying to figure out. Let me get to the back of this switch here, see what's going on. Well, I just tested for continuity, and the switch is working fine. The start position works with the start, and on doesn't send power to the start, so something else is shorted in the wiring, causing those two wires to have power. Okay, so I'm working on wiring, but then I just realized there's nowhere to put antifreeze in the radiator. Shit. It needs a surge tank from like a 390. I ordered an inline radiator fill cap thing from Moroso. Should be here tomorrow. I think it'll work. Anyway, that takes care of that, I hope. Let's get back to wiring. Traced wiring back here. Red is the crank trigger because it runs through the neutral safety switch, which we will bypass. But brown is the ignition bypass. That bypasses the resistor for the coil. That also has power. We've got power all the time coming into the engine bay. So we can see that the red and brown here, they are on the same pin. It's that middle one on the bottom. So something is shorted between the ignition switch and here, causing that to do that. I don't know what the hell it is. Let me clean up this plug. Maybe it's just this corrosion it's got on it. Could be acting up. Brake cleaner makes a pretty decent contact cleaner. Yep, there's a cut on my hand. Finds it every time. If I turn the key, crank, let off, that should be fine. Let's see if it cranks. Honestly, I have no idea why that's working. But I've learned enough in my life to know that just don't question it. After getting the key switch figured out, I decided to tackle the Duraspark 2 ignition. I think I've got it figured out. This is our resistor wire here out of the factory harness. And then we also have the bypass wire off the solenoid. That's going to our coil. The ignition module needs 12 volts in run position. We're getting that there. It also needs 12 volts while cranking, which we're getting out of our start circuit to the solenoid. I'm just going to squirt some brake clean at it, see if we have spark. If it goes vroom, then I'll tidy all this up. Yeah! We did it! We freaking did it! We're kind of at a standstill till we get our fuel system wrapped up. Then we can kind of work on the charging system so we can play with trial by error. I'm going to wrap up the wiring on this side of the car with this new old stock Acrotac. I bought this at a flea market for like $10. I mean, it's so cool. It's just perfect for this car. Shifter delete. Yeah, so we're just gonna eliminate this column shift here because that's lame. Looks pretty good. I just gotta wire it up. I'm gonna ground the tack, shoot a self-tapper into the firewall. Naturally. The buff has returned. He's hooking up our fuel lines now. Then maybe we'll put a windshield in it, or maybe we'll actually get it like running for reals and see if we can get a charging system. Let's do that.
So underneath here we've got our fuel cell, some A-in fittings that we've added here. We've got a little bit of rubber fuel line connecting that to the hard lines. And yes, we double clamp this one because it's not flared, it'll be fine. But I want to go ahead and secure these. So I'm going to find some stuff laying around and see if I can't at least secure these up so they're just not moving freely. Dug around the parts bin and I found this beauty right here. And a piece of rubber that will insulate the fuel line within that. It'll help keep it from rubbing a hole in the fuel line, which would be especially bad.
What the hell is this? Only one self-tapper. I'm gonna knock 10 points off for that. I didn't cut the tails of the zip ties. I'm knocking off another 10 points for that. I'm gonna give you a C.
I bet it works though.
Well, you did the double clamp method. That's worth 5 points. So
redeemed.
B minus. We might have to make a fuel run. I only got like a gallon, but let's see what happens. So this is a little inconvenient. And I'm only going to have to do this about, how much you figure? 100 times on the way to Galveston?
Right, because this is going to get like 5 miles per gallon.
This is convenient though.
Not to mention the wonderful fumes you'll have when you have to move all your luggage out.
Well, there shouldn't be any because we got the vents capped and we have a return line, so it should be sealed. It's a sealed system.
No, you're right.
If I've done it right, it shouldn't be any fumes at all.
From the NHRA side underneath, you guys saw, it looked really good. Not as clean up here.
But now it's gone.
But now it's gone. Problem solved.
Our fuel filter's over here, Buff, if you want to watch that.
Watching.
Let's see if it starts sucking some fuel.
Oh.
It's not sucking anything up yet.
It's trying to, did you already put fuel in it, right?
No.
Oh. Try again. Yep. Oh yeah, we're fueling up now.
That's all leaving. So we know it'll run now. That's a plus. What we're going to do next is we're going to make sure we have a charging system, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to take a base line off the battery, 13 volts, that's about right. And basically all I'm going to do is take this wire here and I'm going to let it run and I'm going to touch it to positive, and I believe this is the exciter wire for the alternator, which would then let it charge through the regulator, and this should just be its own little self-contained harness. If I'm not mistaken, I might be.
It's working. It doesn't even need that. It's charging. You can hear it take off. Then the alternator drags it down.
So this makes 0 sense at all. I don't know why it's charging without the exciter wire. I don't know if I care, but I do know that we'll go ahead and hook up this is the exciter wire. It's the I terminal on the regulator. So it needs a keyed 12-volt switch, which will provide it, even though it doesn't seem to want it, but maybe it'll change its mind someday. So just in case it does, it'll be here for it. More importantly than that lame stuff, does the tack work?
Oh, it does.
So here's our solution to the coolant filling issue. It just arrived. In one hand here I have a Chinese inline filler upper thingy, and in my other hand I have an American-made Moroso filler upper thingy. I bet this Moroso one probably weighs a couple ounces more. It's thicker, but more importantly, and the reason I ordered both is because I read in the reviews that caps won't seal on these Chinese ones. And here's why. You can see this ring here. That's not fat enough for the rubber seal of the cap to actually seal on. Whereas the Moroso has a big fat one. That one seals good. So we'll run the American-made Moroso. It was an extra $10. I know. We'll throw that in the scrap so it can get turned into Miller Lite cans again. So we're just going to have to adapt a hose to this, which is going to be a little interesting. But it's the same size as our thermostat outlet, which is helpful. It is much smaller than this, which is not helpful. I'm thinking with this random hose laying around here, it'll just kind of angle directly towards our dangle there. If we can spit on this enough to make it fit, you know what I mean? It's pretty good, man. Look at that. Son of a bitch.
Really good.
It might work. This is why you don't ever throw anything away. This is all just random used hose I had laying around forever. You never know when the day might come. I'm fairly pleased with that. It doesn't even look that bad. Kind of hard to fill here, but it does work. Well, we'll have to run it and burp it, of course, but at least it's got something in there it can eat on. Snagged a set of cheapy gauges from O'Reilly. I say cheapy, but they're not cheap anymore. We probably ought to have something to keep an eye on it if we're going on a 2,000-mile road trip. So I'm going to hang these under the dash with some self-tappers. Well, no, that's, yeah. I'm doing all this so I can procrastinate not putting the windshield in myself, which I'm going to try. And I'm just not really looking forward to it. What do you say about mounting some tires after this month?
I say we do that.
Let's do that.
And let's not do the windshield. So how do you feel that underdash yoga works for you?
Pretty good. My back hurts all the time. We're going to land our tip sender right here. Now, I'm pretty sure the oil sender is in the back of the engine on a 460. So we'll try to land it there. So you can't get a socket over these because of the nipples. So you just break all the nipples off, then you can get a socket over it. Hey, look, there's water in there. Of course, put a little pipe dope on everything. That way it's really hard to take apart later. Gauges are in, sending units are hooked up, and that's good enough. We don't need lights on those. It's fine.
Should we do the windshield?
Now, let's do tires.
Let's do tires.
I have full set Cooper Cobras from PriorityTire.com. I partner with Priority Tire for tires like these. And I do that for one reason. And you guys saw me reach out to them, trying to get them to partner with me. And they listened to you guys. I have not found anywhere to buy tires for less money than PriorityTire.com. Yes, these are sponsored. I also buy all the tires for all my cars from PriorityTire.com because it's the cheapest place to buy them, and they're the same tire. Why pay more? We got two 15-70-14s to put on the slots that were on that wagon when we got it. The fronts are 14s, the rears are 15s. So we'll go with the 225-70-15 on the rear and a 215-70-14 on the front. I think it's going to give it a pretty good stance. Woo! Alright. That was pretty painless. They hardly ever go that well. And my lug nuts from lugnutguys.com. I also have center caps coming from them too, because they deal in pretty much everything related to wheels.
Including wheels.
Including wheels. These are Ansons. Real Anson slots. They kind of had to go find them. Center caps for them. But they did find them for me. And they'll do it for you too. All you gotta do is call and ask. Well, obviously it'll look a lot better with the center cap, but I honestly just want to get all the tires on it, put it on the ground, and see what the damn thing looks like. Buff, mount that damn tire.
How do you do we tip it up? What's the
I did it. You want me to show you how it's done?
Yeah, come on, JD. Show them how it's done.
I just kicked it.
Is this
Oh, well, I didn't think of that.
That side, you know, these cars aren't perfect, so this side might be a little tighter.
I think this is a little bit tighter. Oh, well,
You got this.
if I would have just done that.
God, I hope I don't have to change the flat on the side of the highway. Oh, the car had no shocks on it before, so the axle could drop further. Just kick it harder, JD. It'll be fine.
But you got the other side on.
It's another new morning here. We're about to put this thing on the ground for the first time, but before I do that, I'm going to change the oil. I had already changed the oil in the Mercury, so it's not like super crucial, but I want to start fresh. It's very humid and muggy and foggy here, by the way. You know, that's why it looks weird. I've got 2050 VR1 here. VR1 oil has all the zinc and stuff you need for a classic car. It's better than diesel oil. So I'm going to dump this in, then let's put it on the ground. Oil looks pretty good, actually, nice and clean. Not that it has any miles on it.
So it's time for an extreme oil change. Yes, we're real car guys here. I can put oil in an engine. Yeah, look at that extreme funnel action.
Thing hasn't been on the ground since we did part 1, Buff.
Yeah, I'm ready. I want to see it. It's down.
That looks great.
It looks level.
It even has suspension travel. No, it's pretty low. Come on, slow, man. Well, let's go ahead and get the hood for this. That way we can lay the windshield on the hood while we attempt to install the window. Hood has just been chilling out here, narrowly avoiding death as I nearly back over it almost every single time. Easy does it now. Don't break the glass. I'm high over here, but
This looks good.
yeah, that one's fine. What do you think of that, JD?
Looks pretty good.
It's tough, isn't it? Then you just walk around, open this hood. Oh, I gotta put some oil in at a gas station. Yep, that's always been there. It's bone stock. This glass is almost half an inch thick, and I have personally seen them stop a 38. Some super clean and steel wool will help us get some of this old weather strip off of this. The smoother we get this, the easier it's gonna be. Now, I've done truck windows. I've definitely never done anything like this. This could get interesting, to say the least. Step 1 here, even though I notice there's another crack in the glass, we'll ignore that. We have to put the seal on the glass. We have to put the trim in the seal, and then we put it in the car. Just that easy.
There you go.
You know, I was kind of hoping to have a professional do this so people could see how it's supposed to be done, instead of 2 idiots trying to figure it out. But here we are. The upper and lower trim locks in here, and I think that holds this on the window. Packing our rope around this lip here. And the idea is you set this up on the channel, and then you pull the rope through. It opens up that lip, and then it sets down in the car. Just that easy. Rubber seal's falling off the window.
Mm-hmm. It's actually doing the thing.
Remember, false hope is still hope. You'll note that we didn't put the chrome in the top, and that's because it wouldn't stay there. Which means I'm going to glue it on probably later.
Is it pretty close?
I think that's it.
Okay.
It's not perfect,
No.
but that's not bad. We shoot the screws in it, and I think that's it, dude. So the factory secured this in with self-tappers. Just shoot a self-tapper. I mean, just like Ford did. I don't know. I didn't make it up. Putting trim back on. It's looking pretty sharp. Putting the interior trim in. This is the rear view mirror holder thingy. And I think the parts car has a day-night mirror in it. Let's go rob it. Easy to do when there's no window in here. Day-night mirror. Ooh, fancy. I don't know. It is an option. It's kind of cool. The sill plates are a lot nicer than the other car, too. We should take them as well. This thing's going to give us a lot of good stuff. Here's how you set your mirror adjustment on these. It's got a little pivot ball in here. And if they're real floppy, you just tighten up that little set screw there. And it pulls down on this piece of metal here. And that's how you do it. It's a little contraption, you know. A lot of thought put into everything on old cars. Next, I want to see if we can get headlights working. We have currently one bright and nothing else. JD took the headlights out of the red Mercury, of which only one was any good. I have another low beam here and one good bright from something here. There we go. 4 headlights. No driving lights yet, so maybe we work on that too. But now I can put the grill in. I don't know if this grill's better than the parts car's grill or not. I think the parts car's grill's a little fancier.
Show him our new friend.
Well, so here we see the wild house spider in its natural habitat.
Oh, look how cute he is. Look at his little eyes. Oh, he's looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Bet you weren't ready for a David Attenborough special, but here we are. I'm going to take a short break from the wagon right now to go help Buff swap a transmission into his van, Brian Bantana. If you want to check that out, go to Buff's garage to check that out. Got my fancy new fan today. You see how this thing's like corrugated? This is Flexolite's fan. I don't know. It's not sponsored or anything, okay? It's just supposedly a 3000 CFM fan, which should cool the 460.
Is it gonna go there?
That's where it's gonna go.
Okay. I don't see why it wouldn't work.
It's so close. I think we need some additional holes. So I'm gonna drill these and make some more. That'll let us mount it a little bit closer. I might be able to get all 4 basically zip ties in. It's not great. I've got about a finger between the water pump pulley and the fan. There's no other option. So that is what it is, and we're just going to live with it. So to go with that fan, you never want to run a fan off a toggle switch. It's too much current. You need a relay. I mean, I know how to wire a relay, but this makes it so much easier. You can buy these relay kits on Amazon for like $12, and it has everything you need. You plug it in, you're good to go. Also, this one has a temp sender, so we'll put this temperature sender in one of these coolant passages here, and the fan will just kick on automatically whenever it gets to temp. So that'll be kind of nice. No need for toggle switches under the dash.
We need the grill from the parts car because it's actually in pretty good shape. I'm gonna take this out and then we'll put it back in the wagon. After a long fight, we finally got it out. There's a whole bunch of bottom ones that were rounded off, and you even have to take the headlight bezels out. This sucked.
You pulled the grill out of that parts car. I don't know how to put it in though, so how does it go in? Okay, so these stupid things here.
Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude. It's looking killer. What do you think? No bumper? I mean,
This looks pretty cool.
I know, and our bumper's bent, and the parts car bumper's bent too.
Yeah, I say we just leave it alone.
I think we just leave it off until I find a good one, maybe.
Yeah.
That looks good, dude. We'll figure out the bumper situation later. Now I think it's interior time. Yum.
Yeah, it's the best.
Okay, yeah, so you're pulling those like batten strip things off. Is that
Yeah.
all that hold? Well, maybe the dome light in that one, but
Yeah.
I cannot believe that's coming off of there. She's going to do some interior things here. Recover these panels, which are in reasonably good shape. And you'll probably have to replace that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get crafty with this one. Let's just see what we're working with, because it might be entertaining. I accidentally put my hand in that, and I never want to do it again.
Ew. Did you see the new day-night mirror? We're pretty much, we're keeping up with the Joneses. Look how, it's so crystal clear, I can see the reflection of you removing it. It's perfect. Oh my god.
Oh, there's so many spider sacks.
Oh no, those are just,
Cotton candy. They're cotton candy.
cotton
They're for
balls.
cotton candy. Oh yeah. There is some life going on in here.
Whoa.
No, it's a brown recluse. Kill it. Just gotta like bend it back and see if there's brown recluses in it. Use this first, so I can bite that first. I don't know what that is.
Another spider you see.
I'm not even a sissy, but these things like really
No, they're
get me.
horrible. That's not being a sissy. That's just rat poop though, so that's a good sign. Rats eat those.
Yeah, actually, those are like seed pods of some sort.
Squirrel them.
I'm fine with that.
These things stink so damn bad. I think we're just gonna remake them with whatever Jess can find at Home Depot. She's leaving now. JD, you and I are gonna scuff and paint all the side trim and whatnot, and tear all the crap off the roof. Oh, holy ant colony.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll kill him.
Ammonia will kill them for sure. Get most of these sprayed. Looking pretty sharp. We need to take these off too. Top parts of the door here.
Okay.
That comes off with just a few screws.
Alright.
And then we can paint those too.
There's a dead spider there, and egg sacs and spider webs everywhere.
Let me get my spider killer right here. I guess this is a good thing. I mean, at least we won't have to deal with this while we're driving. This is what I mean by taking a little extra time on these projects to kind of take care of the normal horrible things we have to deal with. You know, like I can get all this out and we clean it before we drive it. Usually all this stuff is already rotting away in a wagon. Got to re-vacuum the whole thing. Had some more kill mat here. This is thinner stuff than I used on the floor, but we can get a little more coverage out of it for cheaper. I'm just gonna put it up on the roof and maybe inside the doors even. Hell, maybe under the hood. We're gonna make this thing pretty nice inside. I'm not too worried about them button up or anything. You just kind of need a tile every so often up here. I'm going to double up underneath these batten strips here with an extra chunk here, kind of like the factory did, just to keep them from shaking around too much. You know, this is kind of nice. It should help with temperature too, I think.
Oh yeah.
So like the Texas sun, I don't know. We need a little bit of assistance with that, I think. Yeah, we might as well peel that off, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That's not doing any good. We'll just sand and paint the wheelhouses. That looks better.
Yeah, it does.
Fuck off!
Whoa, that's what they look like?
That's a brown recluse. That's a baby brown recluse.
Ooh.
That was a big one.
Ooh, spray in there. There we go.
The brake clean purifies all. More so when combined with fire. But we're not to that point yet. I bought a lot of this kill mat stuff. I'm going to put some in the doors. I'm going to put some under the hood, in the tailgate, and we're just going to make this thing solid as a rock. You know, feels like it is anyway. The hood is pretty tinny. And it should also maybe help with heat. I'm not really sure how all that works. I'm not a scientist. That looks pretty damn cool. How's it sound? Oh, yeah, much better. Hell yeah. I used all my leftover scrap pieces inside the tailgate. That ought to help with some rattles. And I started spraying some blue on those wheelhouses. JD's removing door panels from our parts car. They're in okay shape. We're getting our money's worth out of this thing.
Yeah, we are.
Jess is working on our headliner panels. Southwestern flavored kind of material you get from Hobby Lobby.
Yes, 40% off.
Professionally installing it with duct tape.
Yeah.
It'll work. Well, I guess I might as well start on carpet. Jess and her friend went up to Home Depot and managed to get them to sell them this carpet for 1 penny. I'll put the receipt right here. Anyway, here's our penny carpet. It's like indoor-outdoor carpet. Should be just fine for this. Obviously, I wasn't going to spend actual money on a carpet kit. When you're installing house carpet in your car, don't do anything stupid like measure. Just guess. So I could see the lines of the carpet run sideways, and we're going to keep them going sideways. And what I'm going to do is get this side set, and then I'll cut that side to fit. We're going to get our length rough cut here. And so I'm going to cut all the way to about the edge of the seat. Somewhere in there. It's some kind of adhesive for carpet. I mean, glue is glue, right? So we've got it rough cut. I'm going to go in under here, spread a bunch of glue around in the enclosed space.
You sniffing glue?
It tastes funny.
Are you eating it?
Well, we kind of screwed up. We've got a few gaps to fill. Also, that carpet adhesive stuff doesn't work at all. It just bled through the carpet, and like I think it started to eat it. So I quit using that and started using some spray adhesive. Like my grandpa used to say, mark of a good carpenter isn't how few mistakes he makes, it's how many mistakes he can cover up. I mean, it's alright. It looks like crap right now, but the seat covers up all of it. Maybe we should have used duct tape.
Oh, so far it's great for upholstery.
Well, I've been out here piddling away this morning. Got the shifter boot installed. Looks like crap. Actually, everything just pretty much looks like crap, but that's fine. You know what? We can always do it better later if we really want to. And along those lines, let's throw the parts car seat in here. Is it perfect? No. Will it suffice to put our asses upon? Yes. Using some random hardware I found to install the seat. The bolt that I welded to the floor there worked really well and held. Hopefully the tracks move. Oh! Yeah, they move really good. Oops. Seat install. Finished. Needs cleaned still, but we'll do that. And I started messing around with the door panel back there. Those are actually going to look pretty good. Our colors aren't as haphazard as I thought they might be. We're going to take a bit of a break from interior work though. Now that we have a seat, I want to drive the thing, see what it drives like, see if I'm going to get away with the front end the way it is. I just pulled the dipstick to throw some trans fluid in it, and it's broke off. Let me go find one. One of these other LTDs probably has one we can use. That's probably somewhere. I didn't see nothing. Somebody go back and watch that Mercury video from last year and tell me if that was always broke off. Appreciate it. Put a gallon of transmission fluid in it. At least it won't run dry. Stopping the action because we have a pretty good fuel leak out of somewhere. My return line hose was a little suspect. It was a used piece of hose I had laying around, so I replaced it with another used piece of hose I had laying around. It would appear to be maybe the fitting for the line. I just can't get it any tighter. Oh, I suppose I'll rip the fuel pump off. At least it's not a big job anymore without all the accessories on top. Once I got both the rubber lines off, I could see it a little bit better. This dinky little thing, it's cracked. I mean, I'm moving that whole freaking fitting that's welded to the pump from the factory. I did buy this because I figured I'd bring an extra on our trip. This one doesn't have a return line though. In lieu of a return line, I'll use one of these filters that has a return line built into it, and hopefully that gets the job done. Sure enough, it pulled out of the fuel pump housing. It didn't crack. Anyway, let's put this piece of shit on instead. I got a little bit of a service loop going on here, but it's buttoned up. Let's see if that helps us. How is that still leaking? I legitimately don't know what the problem here is. It doesn't appear to be damaged or wore out.
I think I got it. Maybe. It's a lot better. I had to make a new line. I don't know. We'll see. Fan kicked on. Sitting at 190. That's the first time that car's been assembled and has moved under its own power in over 20 years. It was a project left for dead in pieces. Now, it's got a new life. So far, that fan is doing its job. Spunky.
Now, Jess, you'll notice the lack of seat belts in this car.
It's alright.
It never had. Grandma and Grandpa never had seat belts.
Oh.
They still made Mom and Dad, which made me.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Exactly. Thank God for me.
It drives really good. Yeah. Definitely has a 410 gear in it. I bet we're not doing 55 or 60. We're pulling 3,000 RPM. We're staying cool, good oil pressure. The brakes work good. I mean, we got a lot of good things here. If we got to figure out a little carburetor trouble, that ain't nothing. I've driven a lot worse. I mean, this is, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even hesitating to drive this to Texas.
We pulled off so that I could take a peek at the car and so that Jess could pick some of these wildflowers, I think. I don't know what they are.
That's all I need.
Nice. So I'm looking for, I don't really know what I'm looking for. Anything. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Where is that coming from? Oh, it's just valve covers leaking.
Brakes aren't good enough to hold it, I don't think. It took off good. I'm gonna try again. Something up.
Not a bad one at all.
Okay, well,
Wyatt, no go room now.
I don't know. Burnout pretty good. But car want to go like a lot now.
Thank goodness it broke down in the mathematical middle of the road.
The widest car ever produced too.
Okay.
Quick, before the Karens arrive.
Oh no.
I'm happy with it.
Maybe you just kind of overdid it. She's like, you get one of those, that's it.
Everything's still happy. I mean, still running cool, and that was my big concern with that. And we're doing 50 miles an hour at 2,800 RPM. That is a 411 gear. We are going to do 55 miles an hour all the way to Galveston, Texas.
No, it's a little while later. Also, I changed shirts. But, you know, it did really good on this maiden voyage. We definitely have some things we got to look at. I think I'm going to go ahead and rebuild that carburetor, maybe. I mean, or I could throw another carb on it, I guess. I don't know. I think I'll rebuild it. I like to keep it all Ford. I don't know. Does something for me. I think I got to ditch the 411s. I don't want to drive over 2,000 miles with those. I mean, I will if I have to. But I called Quick Performance, and I got some third members laying around here, but I want something that's just going to bolt in, you know, and I don't have to change the drive shaft. That's the big thing. I have, like, the Mercury's third member would work, actually, but the yoke is longer and the U-joint's different, and I don't know. What we got here works. So I am going to kind of cheat a little bit, break the budget, and go with Quick on that. You'll see that next video, because that's going to take some time to get done. Meantime, we have interior to finish, but before I do that, I gotta clean this freaking shop, man. If you can't tell, this is what it looks like when you build a car in, what, less than 10 days. You take a car from a pile of parts to a running, driving machine. I don't know if I showed you guys this. The reason I'm not pulling the axle out of this, which would have been a V8 car, somebody's already yanked it. And it's got a damn truck axle in it, and it's chained in there. What the hell? So I don't know what that is. Let's not even take the chance. And JD's out here earning his keep. I feel like I can breathe again. We'll pick up the interior tomorrow. I want to remind you guys that this is a multi-part series. Next video will probably be the finale, where we drive this car over 2,000 miles to Texas and back so that Jess can see the beach for the first time. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, comment, all that. Especially subscribe, it really helps out. Welcome back this morning. I've been raiding the parts stash for the trim and stuff the car is missing, some interior components, whatnot like that. I'm going to do door panels first, and then maybe we work on some of this exterior trim. The armrests out of the parts car are pretty grody. I'm going to spray them down and then scrub them up. They'll come back around, no problem. They're just nasty. Look at that. They'll get there. I just noticed, though, that the driver's window is broken. It's in there, but the glass is broken. These are plate glass. It's actually laminated glass like a windshield. So whenever you go through it, it cuts you into pieces. I found a replacement one, $50 for a new glass online. That's not too bad. Smack, smack, screw. Then we will, of course, secure the door card with self-tappers. See, these are better than clips. And they're shiny, you know, so they really add to the effect. Passenger door panel's on. But unfortunately the parts car only had 3 armrests in it, so we're gonna have one oddball. The car came with a whole bunch of armrests, but none of them are blue. And I have a little bit of blue dye left over from something. Maybe we just spray it with this. If it gets blue-ish, close enough. Oh yeah, that's completely wrong. Oh well. We need a new steering wheel, that's for sure. To the parts car. Steering wheel isn't much better, but I took the horn ring off. We'll use it. If I'm gonna paint a steering wheel, I might as well just paint the one on the car, I guess. Well, this cleaned up nice. It doesn't have power steering, but we can pretend that it does with this. So I've got our steering wheel here. It's got a lot of cracks in it. I've fixed these successfully a lot of times. Grind the cracks out, use a body filler, and then just kind of refinish the whole wheel, and it actually works really well. I don't have time for that. So I'm gonna take some 80 grit. I'm gonna rough up around the cracks like this. And it smells like rubber as I'm sanding it. Makes me wonder if the steering wheel is actually made out of rubber instead of plastic. I've got my spot putty, put a dab on it. I'm gonna work it into the crack, then we'll just kind of feather it out once it's dry with a little bit of 180 grit sandpaper. It will hold for a while. I'm curious to see how long. There we go. I didn't go for all of them. I just kind of got the big ones, you know. Just gonna make it look a little better, not perfect. While we wait for the steering wheel to dry, we'll get these headliner panels up. Kind of got a start at it here. Let's try to knock this out. I may not be able to film this.
Probably not, because I need you in here. This is such an awkward one-person job.
Our plastic headliner idea is not gonna work very good. It works on some of them, but the ones that don't have anything to support them in the middle, they just droop real bad. So we're going to recover a couple of the original panels, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Still waiting on the steering wheel to cure, so I've got some sill plates here. Now, some of them came with the car. These are standard sill plates, they don't have a crest. These are out of the parts car. They have the Galaxy crest, but it's also in pretty bad shape, so we'll just use whatever looks the shiniest and you know, finish off the carpet that way. There we go. That just finishes that off so much nicer. Makes our half-ass carpet look just fine, actually. At last, what you've probably been waiting for, it's time to sand the steering wheel. So we're just gonna knock this spot putty down, but I'm not gonna knock it all down. I mean, we're not working the side of a car here. It's a freaking steering wheel. So what we're going to try to do is just, you know, if it's got a little lump in it, that's actually okay. It won't really look any different than it ever did. If you just kind of leave a little feathered hump like that on top, it'll hold up longer. We want a 20-footer out of our steering wheel that you sit a foot away from. It turned out better than I thought it was going to. I should have maybe put a little more time into it, but meh, oh well. The paint's probably just going to rub off anyway. So let's spray this thing blue. See what happens. One last rust hole in the floor to patch here while we're waiting for that steering wheel to dry. Yeah, we'll just cover it right up. I'm gonna run this license plate covertly. Somebody was kind enough to send in like 100 license plates from Nebraska. There we go. Oh yeah, that's fixed forever. We're gonna be bringing the dog with us to Texas. This is not very comfortable for him. It is basically a giant doghouse or greenhouse, depending which. Could be an aquarium actually, with the way it's going to leak. Carpet, much more comfortable for dogs. I'm just going to cover up all this rust with carpet, because nobody's ever done that, ever had an issue long term. I have enough scraps here. I think I can piece it together. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm just going to screw it in so it's kind of temporary. Redoing our headliner here. I like this better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So much better.
We're going to pick the best original panels, re-glue them, use the plastic where we can, and I think it'll work out just fine. I have achieved the perfect trapezoidal square. It's a rare shape. I'm not very good at this. Maybe I should leave this to the pros when I someday do it for reals. Figured I might as well throw down a little bit of this stuff. I don't know, maybe it'll help something. But alright, let's go ahead and get the carpet in now. Are you even living if you're not self-tappering carpet into your car? I'm just gonna cut to fit with my box knife. Anytime I don't have to measure, I can actually make things look pretty good. But if I have to measure, that's when things go south quick. Then you get the octagonal trapezoid square. Finishing touches. This is a piece of that plastic board. I just painted it blue. It'll kind of match things. Found this in the parts stash, so we can get that reattached. Cover up that whole tailgate. That way the fiche doesn't fall in the holes. This is the fiche, by the way. Fiche! Hello?
Load up! Yes, don't you love it?
What do you think, fiche?
Yes. This is for good, huh?
It's an expensive doghouse, but I mean, I guess it's worth it. JD and Jess are going to work on the headliner now. I'm going to work on replacing some of the trim on the side of the car, using enough self-tappers and two-phase tape to kill an entire school of walruses. Replace this, because I'm almost gutting myself every time I walk by this. It's just razor sharp. And in the car was one. And it's not in very good shape, but it's less sharp, and I like that better. The bolts are so rusted I can't get them off. So we will resort to violence. So we'll put that on. And I don't have any of the clips. I'm not buying them. So I'll just two-phase tape it on by putting two-phase tape on the ridges of the door. It'll catch the ridge of this. It'll work fine. Well, the interior's done. It's better than it was. It's more colorful than it was. You can't sweat the small things. I mean, yeah, it's not great. It's fine. Who cares? It's better than it was. It was sitting in like a grain silo for 20 years. Now it's doing this. But dig the steering wheel. That was a total success. Spot putty and spray paint. But that's like fully restored. I got that piece of trim on. JD's going to work on putting a battery tray in. That was in the parts hoard with it. It needs one pretty bad. Nobody panic. I only shot self-tappers in this one because it was kind of banged up and I have extras. So I'm actually going to put the worst trim on the car. This two-phase tape worked really good here on that one, but down low I don't think it will. So just going to try to fake it as best I can. This piece of trim I've been kind of SOL. We didn't have that. But we did have the ones off the parts car. Man, they are mangled. And the other one was already screwed onto the parts car. I just put screws in the holes that were already there. Even that one, you can tell they had to drill a couple of times as the car rotted away underneath it. I don't know, I guess I'll throw it on here. It's better than nothing, but we better keep an eye out for some better trim. Whenever we go to paint the car, then we'll actually install the clips correctly.
Finally got the battery tray in. It looks a lot better than the old one.
I stopped at the parts store, got some sweet quilted pleather floor mats. Only the best for this. Those don't look nearly as stupid as I thought they were going to. Success! Also, behold, the dice valve stem cap. Also, behold, the dust cover's gone. That's, yeah, we need center caps. Those will be coming soon. Sorry, I'm late for breakfast, baby. I had to get my footprint gas pedal installed.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Is that so you don't keep pushing it with your hand? Every time you look at it, you gotta remember it's your foot?
It's a reminder. Yes.
Okay.
Got the footprint dimmer switch pedal too, you know.
Oh, okay.
Although I think I broke the dimmer switch in the process, but it's okay because we got looks.
But it's shiny and that's what matters.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't mean to brag, guys, but I did get air conditioning for this car. I know, it's over budget. You know, it's air conditioning in a classic car don't come cheap. So anyway, here it is. This is a vintage swamp cooler to prevent swamp ass. You fill it with ice, and then it blows air through it, and then it's air conditioning. Cut the cigarette lighter end off, stuck it here, and it works. So we got to put a new cigarette lighter on it, and then I also pulled the cigarette lighter out of the dash. I'm going to clean up the contacts and stuff on it, and I don't know. Well, I mean, at least the dog will have air conditioning in the back, maybe. You'll note that it's got a place for cigarettes, pen, map, case, and papers, pencil, not to be confused with pen, and sunglasses, and Kleenex. We got to put a cigarette lighter end on that. I have this old Spotlight, which I think we can rob that from. Now, I did try to clean up the lighter as best I could, and it's still not working. So, I'm going to go rob one out of that Mercury. This thing's bound to have a dozen or so cigarette lighters in it. Yeah, there's one right there. Yeah, there we go. That ought to work. Let's see here. Hey! Now we have a working cigarette lighter. Time to complete the AC install. Okay, it's done. Whoa! Yeah! Okay, let me go get some ice. We gotta try this. I don't have any bags of ice. I've got a couple of trays.
You'll have that on these. It's perfectly normal.
I think it needs more than 2 trays of ice as well. But it is cooler, for sure. That was a lot of fun. Now on to what I was supposed to do today, which is rebuild the carburetor, or try to. I am not a carburetor expert, okay? I mean, I like them, I prefer them, but you're looking for someone who knows the ins and outs of everything. I'm not your guy. I remember running that Mercury off of its original tank, and it was really, really nasty. So I'm just hoping it's just full of some crap. We clean it up, throw some new seals in it, maybe it's good. Alright, let me see what I can figure out real quick. I just pulled the filter element out of the filter, which is built in a Ford, but I just ran a drill through it and pulled it out with a pair of pliers, and we can reuse that. We don't need that anymore. That filter is completely destroyed. I'm gonna guess that was the only problem, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart and just make sure there's no trash in it. I'm not surprised to find that. Just a bunch of crap. I tell you what, I'm gonna pull this thing out and pull all the bits out that I can get to. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, but maybe I can figure it out. Blow through everything with some brake clean, slam it back together, and I mean, it really can't run any worse. It didn't run that bad. It just had those idle issues. You know, like sticking wide open. That's needle and seat. What the hell is this? Also a needle and seat? I don't know. There's no instructions. Whatever this thing is had fallen apart and the stem came out. And in the new one, it is not like that, which tells me that it was probably bad. Carb's back together. It looks better. I forced the choke to stay open to see if that, I don't know, maybe, I know those chokes on those motorcrafts get funky. I did notice the lower gasket, pretty bad, like really bad. So I'm gonna make a new one out of this gasket material, and we'll slap it back together, see what it runs like. We're all buttoned up. I am gonna pop the valve covers off though, and change the gaskets on those. They were leaking a little bit. I don't want to smell that all the way to Texas. Not too bad in there. Definitely seen worse. I don't think this has ever had gaskets put on it. That's either a good or a bad thing. I haven't decided yet, but anyway, at least it won't leak anymore. Let's see if it runs. I guess I did something wrong. It's like the float's stuck. Well, I definitely screwed something up there. This little dude is supposed to be retained in here. Instead, it was just kind of sitting on it. So I need to bend these tabs up, get it in there. That's why I was letting fuel through. Take 2 with strange needle and seat thing fixed. Something making the big sparkies over here. Alternator sawed a hole in that wire there. It's fine, nothing zip tie won't fix. It's not like the whole engine's covered in gasoline or anything. Just goes to show you there's no reason to take those safety precautions. It takes a whole lot to get gas going. It's fine. Starting it back up.
Big vacuum leak.
Alright, took it back off. we had a big vacuum leak over here, and I don't know why, really. Gasket looks fine. Homemade, sure, but it looks fine. I found it. There is just a bit not covered right there. Probably enough to throw the whole thing off. All right, take a 1157 Sands vacuum leak.
Sounds all right.
Yeah.
We threatened it with that. Now it's behaving. I guess it's fine. I don't know.
That is more than enough for this video on the 1960 Country Sedan. Now make sure you stay tuned. Now next week will probably be a normal like revival video, but the week after that we're going to be driving to Texas, so you might miss a week of content. I'm just warning you. It might be a few days late, but we are going to drive this to Texas. So I have an appointment to get exhaust May 9th because it's going to need custom exhaust. We still got to put that window in, and I do have Quick Performance sending a 323 gear set for it. So we're going to do all that work and then hit the road for Texas. Stay tuned for that video. That's going to be potentially deadly, but you know, probably entertaining too. But anyway, make sure you check out the merch site, pick you up a shirt, a hat, and etc. And we'll see you guys next time on Pole Barn Garage. I think the carburetor's okay. I mean, I don't know. It seems it idles all over the place. It runs great now, but it just idles all over.
And the throttle sticks.
And the throttle sticks. I sprayed it down with lube, but I don't know. If you know anything about Motorcraft 4350s, or you have one laying around that runs good, I will buy it from you. So just let me know. Or the spreadboard, what, Holly 4165, I think. If you have one of those, I'd be in the market for it. So anyway, see you guys.